Prakash Prajapati, and this is my first video, and I'm come with a PETA's marketing strategy. And this is one of the unique marketing strategy that is followed by PETA. So let's talk about it. The marketing strategies that is mainly followed by PETA was the SOC marketing, the SOC marketing. So when it ran ads showing a priest kissing a nun, it was a calculated move to rattle people. And about me, I'm aiming to revolutionize marketing domain by providing valuable case studies. Like this is my first one and the first videos, and you can expect more similar kind of videos which will help you to deep dive into the marketing domain. So my name is Prakash Prajapati, and I'm a MBA student. And now the overview of PETA. So PETA got everyone's attentions with this one: celebrities posing nude to protest animal cruelty in the fashion industry. It was raw, provocative, and hard to ignore. While some praised it for being gutsy and making a point, others thought it was too over the top or relied too much on shock instead of substance. And you will see there are kind of graphics that was posted by the PETA. First one was social strategy. It was shows a cow and the kind of words they are used. Like you want to drink your mom's breast milk now, so buy drink a cows. These are the provocative measures and the provocative words that are used by PETA for following this strategy. And there are also some billboard ads, and in this ad you can see eating meats kills more animals than you think. Like the words shows on that billboard ads, and the graphic shows a cow is uh, eating a bird. That was very ridiculous kind of, so like that. And a meat jacket, it also definitely grabs attentions of people who are like conscious for these kind of things. And I would rather say everyone's attentions got by these kind of post or infographics. And the similar kind of one of the gut bags it shows, but nearly everyone noticed. And that's what stock marketing is built on: attention at all cost. Mainly the complete leads the stock marketing is built on was attention at all cost, no matter how. Like in these kind of infographics you can also see how the attentions are caught of audience. So stock marketing plays a critical role on emotional triggers that stands out, whether that's surprise, anger, it can be discomfort or curiosity. It clearly gets people talking, but does it really work? The question arises: does it really work? This is definitely that it caught our attentions, and people talk about it because something very hilarious are there in these kind of posts you can see. So when it is a smart move, and when does it just piss people off and hurt the brand? So we need also understand this. Now come with what is stock marketing. Stock marketing is when brand intentionally use controversial graphics or unexpected content to grab attention. It means to jolt people into reacting. This could be through imagery, language, or even the message itself. The goal isn't always to sell right away. It's to get noticed, get people talking, and plant a memorable impression. Now, this is very different from traditional marketing, which usually plays it safe. Traditional ads try to connect with people through familiarity, aspiration, or emotions like joy and comfort. Stock marketing goes the opposite way. It wants to interrupt, not blend in. So, even emotional marketing, while powerful, leans on empathy and relatability. Stock marketing doesn't mind making people uncomfortable. It relies on three things: mainly surprise, controversy, and breaking social media norms. So it's ad you pause, you scroll for because it's just so out of the place. But there was a thin line between creating buzz and creating backlash, and that's where stock marketing gets tricky. Why do brands use stock marketing? The interest is loud, everyone trying to sell you something, post something, and grab your attention. In that chaos, being bold, even borderline offensive, can sometimes be the only way to cut through a well-crafted shocking ad. Makes them pause, react, and often share. These are some of the main reasons, and now we are going further deep dive in the preceding slides. So there is also a practical side to this. When an ad is controversial or outrageous, it tends to get free publicity. News outlets cover it, people tweet about it, influencers debate it. That kind of organic media coverage can be worth more than what the brand actually paid for the ad. And so for many companies, it becomes a calculated risk. Do something wild, get talked about, and hope the conversations lean in your favor. But it's not always just about attention. Some brands use SOC to challenge social norms or draw focus to issues that are uncomfortable but important. So the SOC is meant to trigger a shift in how people think. There's a real psychology behind this too. When you are emotionally jolted, whether it's anger, discomfort, or surprise, your brain holds on that moment longer. It's called emotional arousal, and it's tied to memory retention. We remember things that mess with our emotions always. That's why a controversial ad might stay in your head way longer than a sweet, forgettable one. There's also something about controversy that makes things go viral. When people feel strongly, positively, or negatively, they are more likely to talk about emotions fuel sharing. And on platforms like X or Instagrams, the more heated the conversations, the further it spreads. That's the game many brands are playing. Spark is conversations, it stir the pot, and greens get seen. Another layer here is cognitive dissonance. That's the psychological tensions we feel when something challenges our beliefs or expectations. So marketing often works by doing just that, forcing people to confront something they have been conditioned to ignore or see differently. For some, that leads to deeper thinking. For some, it causes immediate rejection. But either way, it sparks a mental response, and that's the goal. What makes this tricky is how unpredictable human reactions can be. What shocks one group might be normal to another, and what sparks dialogue today might get you cancelled tomorrow. So it's about being bold with intent and understanding who you are really talking to. Now we are going to talk about some of the examples of stock marketing. So first one was Zomato's rupees 20 lakh fees for the hiring. So last year, Dipendra Goyal posted just a job opening for chief of staff where candidates had to pay rupees 20 lakh upfront and work unpaid for a year. You can see these are the some of the tweets which are get spark on X. So the idea was to filter for people driven by ambitions, not by money. Goyal later clarified that the fees wouldn't actually be charged, and most applicants would who offered to pay would be rejected. It was more of a mindset test than anything else. So still, it sparked a huge debate and got over 18,000 applications, providing the soft work. And now the second one was Yes Madam's termination mail, just because he someone is feeling stressed and he asked for leave. So like that is the reason main reasons why that termination email got that much sparked or solved for the complete audience. So now discuss it. Yes Madam, a beauty service startup from Shark Tank India found itself in hot water after an internal email went viral. So the email suggested that around 100 employees had been fired after saying they felt stressed at work. Naturally, it caused a huge uproar online, and people slammed the company for being insensitive and treating mental health like a joke. Yes, madam then claimed it was all part of a marketing campaign. No one was actually fired, and the goal, they said, was to raise awareness about workplace stress. Problem was they didn't communicate that clearly. And in damage control mode, the company introduced new mental health policies like 6 annual de-stress leave days and at-home spa treatment for employees. But for many, the damage was done. Now we are going to discuss today's hero of this discussion, Petas. I would rather go naked than wear a fur. the celebrities campaign. PETA launched in 1990s I would rather go naked than wear fur. Campaigns featured celebrities posing nude to protest animal cruelty in the fashion industry, as you see in the picture. So, over 3 decades, the campaign utilized bold imagery to challenge the fur industry, sparking both praise for its audacity and criticism for its soft tactics. While some praised it for being gutsy and making a point, others thought it was too over the top, or relied too much on sock instead of substances. In 2020, PETA concluded the campaign, citing significant progress in reducing fur uses and shifting focus to other areas of animal welfare. When when you use sock marketing, not everyone or every brand should try this. If your values are grounded in empathy, education, or advocacy, and the sock serves a real purpose, go for it. It was best in that case. But if it's just to bait clicks to stir up fake outrage, it's a weak move. Stock marketing works best when it aligns with your brand's tone and what your audience expects from you. A brand known for pushing boundaries will have more room to play than one known for wholesome family content. It also depends on whether your audience wants to be challenged or if they are just looking for comfort and trust. Most importantly, the message needs depth. If SOC is the only thing you are bringing to the table, people will see right through it. There has to be something real underneath, something that gets people to think or act differently, even after the initial reaction fades. So, how to pull it off without backfire? It is one of the main thing we should need to understand. Start with research, not just what you think is edgy, but what your audience sees as a meaningful or offensive. Look at past campaigns, both successful and failed, and see what made the difference. Before going live, test your idea with a small group. If even a few people say this feels off, listen to them. It is important. Having a crisis plan is place just smart. If things go out of your hand, you want to respond fast and clear. Silence during backlash only makes it worse. Also, sock for the sake of sock is lazy, it wears off fast. But if you can also educate, make some laugh, and move them emotionally, you have hit the sweet spot. And timing matters a lot. Avoid dropping a controversial ad during a humanitarian crisis or social unrest. So, in a nutshell, Gen Z and millennials can actually appreciate boldness if it comes from a place of truth. The tolerance is there, but so is the demand of accountability. What doesn't fly anymore is fake provocations. People can tell when you are trying to force virality instead of saying something real. There's a shift toward what you can do authentic so stuff that challenge you, but with purpose. So if you are thinking about using it, ask yourself, is this worth the attention and the consequences? If the answer is yes, go for it, but be ready to own the conversations that follows. So what are the key takeaways from stock marketing? First one was stock marketing grabs attention by leveraging surprise, discomfort, or controversy, but must be rooted in purpose. It works best when the stock aligns with the brand's tone, values, and audience expectations. Emotionally jarring content increase memory retentions and fuel online sharing, driving organic reach. Poorly executed stock campaigns can backfire, leading to public backlash and long-term reputational damage. Successful stock marketing requires rigorous audience testing, timing, and meaningful message behind the provocation. So thank you everyone. This is about my informations, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like, share, and comment.